watched him play. So Brandon Dieter was a unique baseball player, and you couldn't help but notice that right away when you watched him pitch, when you watched him play short, when you watched him vie for a spot on Team USA's roster, when you watched him vie for an opportunity to be a perfect game All-American. Check. He checked all those boxes. And he did so with some great advanced metrics, and he did so with a lot of the things that you would put in the scoutables. But there was something extra about Brandon Dieter, the young man out of South Hills High School, who was an 18 grad. He's about 18 years old, heading up to being 19 not too far from now. In Covina, California, played some travel ball for CBA Marucci, and instead of pursuing the professional route, which I'm sure many an organization would have seen him as a fit, he's going to go play for Stanford. He has always taken care of his business in the classroom. They have yet to get started on campus. David Esker and his group, and so many good coaches there. Thomas Eager, a great coach. There's a lot of good players that he's going to be playing with. And Brandon, we're excited that you're spending some time with us just prior to starting your college career. As you watch some of your teammates that you played with, whether it be on that USA roster or the Perfect Game All-American Classic roster, as you watch them make decisions throughout late May, June, and then into July with regard to contracts and college, what were your thoughts? What were your takeaways? Did you find yourself intrigued watching a lot of those guys make big life-changing decisions?
Absolutely. I think I was just so lucky and blessed to be able to play with such a great group of guys, talented players, and it's just so awesome watching guys that you're personally friends with, and watching them go succeed at the next level, whether it be in college or if they sign contracts, and just keeping up with them on social media and seeing that they're tearing it up. It's just it's a lot of fun.
Brandon, how did it work for you in the end as you approached June 4th, 5th, and 6th, and obviously as a commit to Stanford and a huge achiever in high school? How did it come down behind the scenes for you with regard to, making it clear that I think I'm going to be going to Stanford? How does that work from the Dieter household?
Right. So when I committed to school, it was pretty early on, and I've always been very open and saying that I was going to be attending school. But as the summer carried on and I continued to play well, there was some thoughts and considerations of heading off to play professional baseball. As the high school season continued and went on, just talking to different teams and the scouts, and it just seemed like the best fit for me going forward would be go to school, which I always wanted to do, and succeed there at the next level, and then hopefully come out in 3 years, and we can have this conversation again.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. When you play for Coach Esker, and you did both so very well, do you have a spot yet? Do you plan on being, or has he talked to you about, you're a position player for us, or you're a pitcher for us, or is that still open for discussion?
As of right now, going in, I'm looking to be in the middle infield. We have Duke Kinnaman who's returning. He got drafted last year, but he was injured the whole year, so he'll be back this year for his senior year. And hopefully I'm just fighting for a spot there up the middle. And then depending on if I play up the middle or what position I play, then I might see some time in the mound too, out of the pen.
It's interesting. You do play for a coach. You know this, and I'm sure you've communicated with him throughout the year, who is not afraid to make bold decisions, put younger players in. I mean, I watched what he did with Tim Tawa and Christian Robinson. Nick Bruiser's going to try and fight for some playing time this year. But you have a coach who's not afraid to make a flip too, man. If he knows pitching's in your past and he's trained you up and he's kept you in that, he's not afraid to make big moves. And Thomas Eager is one heck of a pitching coach too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just so looking forward to playing for them, and just the great job that they did last year in their first year. I thought it was amazing, and just looking forward to getting to meet the group of guys and get it going.
Brandon Dieter is about to begin his career at Stanford, and excited to watch him play baseball the last couple of years. Describe yourself as a student when you were in high school. It's one thing to walk away with an A average. You did. It's another thing to find yourself with an admittance to Stanford, because there are all sorts of people out there that have had A averages and challenged themselves. Describe how you actually challenged yourself in high school, some of the courses you took, and look back a bit on what you did academically.
Absolutely, yeah. Just from growing up and being around my parents and what they taught me, I always classroom was the most important. Baseball is a temporary thing. As much fun as it is, and as much we all want to pursue it as a career, we always have the classroom to go back to if we need to change our career path. But going into school, especially early on, I always wanted to challenge myself and take a good course load. But after I made the commitment to Stanford, I really had to up the classes that I was taking. So I ended up going into AP classes and the IB diploma program. From sophomore year on, those classes were great. They really prepare you for college, and just being able to maintain that took a lot of focus and a lot of work. But getting it done in the end was all worth it.
What did they tell you, Brandon, when you talked to folks up at Stanford, whether it be current students, whether it be some academic advisors? I'm sure that there's a plethora of people that can give you advice and guide you. What did they tell you about balancing and time management that goes into being a Stanford student? With all due respect to every other school in your conference, including UCLA, which is an outstanding academic institution, but how much have they encouraged you and tried to guide you to balancing your academic and athletic life as being part of the Stanford family?
I think it's huge. I think personally, being a D1 athlete at any school, I think that's one of the most important qualities you can have, and things that you can work on is your time management and being able to manage taking challenging classes and performing on the field as well. But especially going to the school of the caliber that this is, being able to manage the classes and just having enough time in the day is going to be one of the most key factors for me. But I think going in this first quarter, we're just going to try and keep it manageable and just see how it works out. And then as I get more experience talking to the players and advisors, then I'll be able to figure out a nice plan for me going forward.
Brandon Dieter was one of the most balanced players in the 18 class. He pitched big games for Team USA. He was a perfect game All-American. He was a key middle infielder for South Hills High School and for CBA Marucci and some big events as well. We're having a conversation with him. Since wrapping up your high school season, I'd love to know how you've stayed prepared with regard to baseball and what you have done to challenge yourself baseball-wise. Did you find a place to play? What did your summer look like once you obviously knew that you weren't going to sign professionally? How did you stay fine-tuned?
Yeah, I think we graduated on June 5th, and then within the next 2 weeks, I was out playing for the Puff Capitalists, actually, right across the street from Stanford. So I think it was a great opportunity that came up for me to be able to go play up there and local to the area and get used to it a little bit. But that was a ton of fun. Just played a bunch of games and with a lot of guys going to D1 schools, and I think it was just a lot of fun to get that experience and play against guys at the next level. Learning how to manage that and challenge yourself and just what to expect, I think it was a great test for me.
How was it, Brandon? How did it go? I don't need any stats, but what did you learn about yourself playing against guys that were about to be D1? And look, you did it for 2 years in the summer circuit too, but how was it for you? What did you learn?
Sure. Just these older guys are savvy. These pitchers, they know how to pitch to you. In high school, of course, these guys are ultra talented, but they're still high school guys. These guys are more experienced. They know how to get people out. That's obviously why they're there at that level. But learning how to really play the game within the game, I think that was huge. And then we played so many games within a short time. I think it was a great learning lesson for me, how to keep my body healthy and just stay ready to perform at my highest level every game.
Yeah, playing every day. That is a lot of fun. We're having a conversation with Brandon Dieter. He's headed to Stanford. He was one of the finer and more well-rounded players in the 18 class. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine and just give me a couple of VR kind of really good descriptive memories of a couple of things. You give me from your mind's eye what it looked like. Being a part of USA Baseball's team, winning that gold medal for Matt Blood's squad. Just give me a moment that pops out in your head and give us a good description of it.
Sure, I can tell you exactly the very moment that we won the gold medal in that championship game. I actually have a video of that, and I think that was one of the greatest moments of my career so far. But just seeing that and being there to experience that, I think that was such a great opportunity, and I was thankful to be there and be a part of that team.
Playing for the Perfect Game All-American squad, being a Perfect Game All-American Classic team member, And as an aside, visiting Rady Children's Hospital, what are some of your memories of that event?
It was such a great event, and I was thankful to be there too. But just being around those guys and meeting guys across the country and then getting together, and for a great cause too. Going out to see those kids, and I still remember going out there and meeting little Meyer, and we're throwing balls to him, and he just hitting them all over the place, and it was a ton of fun. But just getting together with those guys and just playing, not just for baseball, but just for the kids and for the right things. It was a great experience.
You were so busy that summer. I mean, it was national, it was TOS, it was the 17U WWBA, it was the PG World Series, and about 1,000-degree weather in Arizona. It was the Classic, and it was on to winning a gold medal. Did it make you a better player to go through that kind of summer, to be in hotels a lot, to have the challenges a lot, to understand it? Okay, if I really want to do this, did being a part of that summer circuit, and probably only, I'd say overall, probably only 100 or so of you guys were able to go through most all of that stuff. Was that worth your time and energies?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have done it any other way. Being a true baseball player and really loving the game, and just being myself, I love being out there every day and being able to play with the best guys in the country. I think that was just such a great opportunity, getting to challenge yourself and see where you stack up against the best.
Finally, a chance again to honor your family, because when one's going to Stanford, the family, had to do something right along the way. Your mom is Akiko, and obviously I met and spent time with your dad, Ken. Please tell me about the impact, separately, that each one of them had on your life.
Oh, yeah, just from a young age, from the baseball side, my dad's always been out there throwing the ball to me and just raising me the right way, teaching me life skills all the time. Guided me everywhere, but both of them especially, being able to drive me where I needed to go before I was able to drive, and take me where I needed to go. And my mom's always been the same for me, teaching me life skills all the time, keeping me grounded, and just being great people, I think, and teaching me and raising me to be a great person. And I'm thankful for that. And I definitely would not be doing any of the things I would be doing without them.
All right, Dieter, if I was a young 14 or 15-year-old and I was pretty good and wanted to be Brandon Dieter, or wanted to be Carter Stewart, or wanted to be Alec Thomas, what advice would you have for me at 13 or 14 years old?
The number one thing is you got to have fun. I think that's one of the most important things. If you're not having fun, then why are you doing it, right? But just to always be working hard. There's always the things that you can do on the field, but if you want to be the best and if you want to get better every day, then you need to do the things that when your coach isn't watching and when your teammates aren't around, and that's how you're going to separate yourself. Because once you get in the higher levels, all the players are good, so you need to do something to make yourself better than the rest. And I think that's one of the best things that you can do.
Brandon, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck at Stanford. We'll see you in the spring.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Brandon Dieter hopes to be a shortstop for Stanford, knows he may be used on the mound as well. If you remember who he was as an amateur player, and he was, the number 12 shortstop in the U.S., the number 6 overall player in California. This is a young man who played some good travel ball for John Pano's CBA Marucci team. Darren Murphy was his head coach at South Hills High School. What a great program that was. But he just had great things go on. An example, that summer, that 17U Perfect Game World Series, which is played in Phoenix, Arizona in the summertime, but it's a collection of the best players in the country. They're between anything they're doing with Perfect Game with regard to showcases. It's before the Perfect Game All-American Classic. It's after USA Baseball's Tournament of the Stars, so it's a true collection. In that tournament alone, he was 11 for 19 at 579, had a 1303 OPS. He just had a great, great summer. Did big things. At the National Showcase, the athleticism in 17, had a 6'8", 160, threw 89 across the infield, 91 from the mound, and had an exit velocity of 93. So he's just an interesting player. The fact he's going to Stanford makes him even more intriguing. It's going to be interesting to follow his journey. Now, Dieter goes to Stanford. Thomas does not go to TCU. When we come back, a conversation with Alec Thomas. He signed with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and oh, what a summer he had in the minor leagues. We'll talk with him about wrestling with the same decision Brandon Dieter had. This is MLB Round Trip with Perfect Game.